everyone, and welcome to the divisional round of the playoffs. All my favorite little gamblers here to watch and see who Gino T is picking this week, because guess what? I went 3-1 last week in the wild card weekend. And I've been just on fire these last couple weeks. The stats are there. You've seen them. Obviously, you've watched the videos. I've been watching you watch the videos because I can see who watches the videos and how many people watch the videos. So some people out there making some good money and you're coming back to return. Well, let's get right into this playoff weekend because it is a hot one. And we're going to start off with the steel cage match in Pittsburgh. Yes, the big ketchup bottle. As Baltimore goes into this game, a lot of heated words have been exchanged and a lot of trash talking. Can't we just all get along? I mean, couldn't you picture it? The perfect two teams to get together and have a beer afterwards. Of course, Dante Stallworth would be driving. You tag Ray Lewis around just in case there's a fight breaks out and you need somebody to perform a Saturday night special for you. And Ben Roethlisberger could be your wingman. Who else can corner a 20-year-old girl in a bar and make her submit to his shortcomings? No pun intended, but we've heard Big Ben. It's not all that big out there. Anyway, let's get into the game because that's what you want to hear. The Ravens beat Kansas City, a sloppy Kansas City. I'm talking like Lindsay Lohan at open bar sloppy just last week. The defense was on the field for a total of about 17 minutes. So I assume, even though they're a little older, they're rested and ready to go for this rivalry. Big Ben, of course, will be ready for this, and I think Mike Wallace is going to be the key to their offense, as we have seen Hines Ward kind of diminish in the years, although he's still a good offensive guy. He's a good possession receiver. He can obviously play dirty enough to knock off cornerbacks. Rashard Mendenhall should be able to get some yardage. Not a lot up against this tough team defensively. Defensively, they have what would be basically a guy named Kelly Gregg. He's a nose tackle that's in proportion to Tony Siragusa. Kind of hard to run behind or run against. They have basically the remains of an Oakland Raider defensive backfield from a couple years ago, Chris Carr and Fabian Washington. And, of course, they got Ed Reed, who's always dangerous. On the other side of the ball offensively, yes, Dante Stallworth could possibly stretch the field. Hushmanzada, who's carrying a big chip on his shoulder. Apparently, he's got some issues with his former team, the Seattle Seahawks, and is looking to make a push in the playoffs. Not that they're going to probably meet in the Super Bowl. But anyway, he's looking to make a push in the playoffs. They have wide receivers like Anquan Bolden. They have a solid offensive line. And they have a plethora of running backs with McGahee and Rice. Offensively, I believe the Baltimore Ravens have just a little bit more of an edge. They got some more weapons, and it really comes down to the key players of Flacco and Roethlisberger, who's going to play better on this game. Flacco does have the more offensive selection as opposed to what Roethlisberger does have. And defensively, quite honestly, Polamalu is the key to the Pittsburgh defense. In either case, all the games that have been played between these two teams come between a last-minute field goal, a last-minute touchdown. They've played within 3 points each time. Therefore, in this case, what I like, honestly, giving the edge to Baltimore, is Baltimore getting 3.5. In some cases, they're getting 3, but the line's been moving up and down. Either way, my play here is Baltimore plus the 3. I think they're a nastier team. I think they're a hungrier team. Again, they played last week, so they've still got a little momentum. Obviously, a little more momentum than having the bye week like Pittsburgh did, even though they're the second seed, and that's a nice position to be in, and playing at home. It's going to be snowing in this game. And let's put it this way. Baltimore is not a team that's afraid to go out in the cold weather. They're not a team that's afraid to get out there and aggressive and attack. And I just like the defensive side of Baltimore a little bit more than Pittsburgh in this game. Baltimore has shown me a little bit more during the regular season, a little bit more going up into this game. I think they're a team that hangs in there. And getting 3 points, I just happen to like the Ravens. Take them. That's the early game. Moving on to the late game. I'm sorry, it's not a 4 o'clock game. It's an 8 o'clock primetime Saturday night game. We have Green Bay at Atlanta. Hot Atlanta, yes. Atlanta, the top seed in the NFC. Yes, they're at home, and Matty Ice has an incredible 21-2 record or 22-2 record at home. I know he's fantastic at home. Michael Turner has had one of his best years. Snellings adds a lot of depth at their running back position. Roddy White has just been outstanding offensively this year. Gonzalez has looked well. I don't know how that guy does it year in and year out. I think he's like 900 years old. He's been in the league for what seems forever, but he's still playing extremely well. Michael Jenkins hopefully shows up in this game and provides some offensive power. Green Bay's offensive line, very big and mammoth. They average about 307 pounds. A bunch of meaty, big white guys in the front protecting Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers has some weapons of his own. He's got James, don't call me Tony Iron Man Starks. Starks came out of nowhere last week. Rushed for 137 yards, looked outstanding when Green Bay has had no running game consistently over the course of the regular season. They came in last game and really laid it out there in Philadelphia with the running game. Do not forget about Jennings. Remember, this game's going to be played indoors in a dome at about 72 degrees. Offensively, I think there's going to be fireworks. I know Green Bay is getting 3 points in this game, or 2.5. The line's moving down a little bit. Atlanta's it's going in Green Bay's way. I think people are betting Green Bay. The line has gone from 3 to 2.5. But that's not what I'm looking at, people. What I am looking at, and the lock of the day, is the total. The total in this game is 44. I don't see anybody stopping this game from going well over. I mean, it could be a 31-27 game by the time this all shakes out. I like Green Bay. I give the edge to Green Bay. They're a tough six-seeded team. Don't let their seed of 6 fool you, because they're a much better team than that. Atlanta is a great team at home. They create a ton of turnovers, which lead to a bunch of points, and Green Bay knows how to put points up offensively on the board. Also, their defense is very good at taking away. Clay Matthews, Charles Woodson, those guys are very good defensively, taking the ball away and creating quick, easy points for the offense. Look for this game to be a scoring fiasco. Look for the over to come in here. It's only 44.5. Look for this game to go well over, even by halftime. And that's all I got to say. Sit back, have a couple beers. It's going to be late after the other game, and enjoy it. By halftime, you're going to be good, and you'll be counting your books money already. Looking forward to Sunday. And speaking of Sunday, here we go, baby. Sunday, we have an early game, the 1 o'clock game. The Cinderella team from the Emerald City. That's right, the Seattle Seahawks going into Chicago for a second time this year. Now, they did beat Chicago the first time. As a matter of fact, it was the first week Marshawn Lynch was there in the trade from Buffalo, who rushed for about 77 yards on 14 carries. Played okay. Seattle did win this game. However, Chicago was kind of dinged up at that point, really not feeling their offensive going. Chicago's laying 10 points in this game. Chicago is also coming in off of basically a bye week. Seattle has played. I know they had an incredible game against the world champs last week at home. It's a little bit different because they're on the road. Chicago has lost 2 games at home, one of them being to Seattle. I don't put too much credence into that game. But Seattle, I have to say this. Matt Hasselbeck has hit his stride. We saw it, 4 touchdowns in the last game. That was incredible. Brandon Stokely, Mike Williams. Stokely came in that game due to an injury. He coming in to replace, and he just lit it up. I mean, the man was incredible. If we remember Stokely, he has played well in the past on other teams in playoff situations. You gotta love the guy. Mike Williams is an incredible turnaround. Has had an incredible year. Obamanu, he's another guy to look for. I think he's going to get some receiving in there. He's going to definitely get a lot of looks, as he is a prime target. The key to this offensive line for Seattle is Russell Okung, the left tackle. If he can remain healthy in this game, I think they're going to put up a lot of running yards. Look for Marshawn Lynch to keep the ball. I think their goal in this game, and I believe this, is to keep the ball out of Chicago's hands, to keep that ground game running. Cutler, we know Cutler has gotten the system down. He's working behind a much bigger offensive line than anybody in the league. and finally has learned to protect them. Johnny Knox lit it up the last couple weeks of the season, and Johnny Knox was a guy I told you in the beginning of the season to look out for. He's been playing well. Big offensive line. Matt Forte has come around and finally has been the back that we thought he was. Even going back to 2 years ago in his rookie year when he came in, he had a tremendous year. Then he just sucked wind. This year he revived himself. He's a big part of the passing game. Also, Chet Taylor, another guy who's very good out of the backfield. I'm not looking for either team to get blown out here. I'm not even looking for this team to be a high-scoring game, or for this game to be a high-scoring game. But I do think it's going to be close. I do think Seattle is definitely going to cover the 10 and 10.5 points, depending on where you get it. Look for this game to be a moving the chains kind of game, a drawn-out offensive strike, or not a strike, but a drawn-out offensive grinded kind of game, mostly on Seattle's side, which will keep Chicago off the field for a while. I like Seattle in this game. I really think Seattle is a team that's playing with its back against the wall, prove it to the world kind of thing. Honestly, I don't see them winning this game, but I don't see them getting blown out. I see this as a very close game, and 10.5 points is a lot of points for Chicago to be favored by over anybody. Look for Seattle, take the 10 points, and take it to the bank. Okay, on to Sunday's big primetime game, the Jets and the Pats. Now, we've heard all trash talking this week from Belichick, who doesn't talk or say anything. Even if he does, he can't figure it out. He doesn't reveal anything. And then you got, obviously, Rex Ryan, who likes to lay it all out there and put his foot in his mouth, or his wife's foot in his mouth, or somebody's wife's foot in his mouth. But we always know that he's going to be the one that talks. Their team talks. Darrelle Revis talks. Let's look at it this way, people. Deion Branch had an interview this week, and I think it spoke 1,000 words. He only spoke a couple. But he said, the Jets are doing what they do. We're going to do what we do. Okay? And he means all the talking and the BS. People, the Jets are getting 8.5, but don't let that fool you. I think the Pats are going to blow them out. When it really comes down to crunch time and playoff time, I'd rather put my money on the Pats than I would put them on the Jets. Now, the Jets are getting 8.5, and that's not even the line I'm concerned with. There's going to be snow. It's going to be cold. It's going to be in New England. I think, to be honest with you, Belichick is going to look to come out running the ball a little more than normally. He's got a guy in Danny Woodhead who's basically kind of like last year's or years past Kevin Falk. Look for him to get the ball. Look for Welker to get the ball. Those short dink and dunk passes. Look for the law firm, Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, to drag it out, running the ball. Key in these playoff games are running the ball, keeping the ball out of the opponent's hands offensively. And let's put it this way, Sanchez doesn't need any help in retarding the offense there, because basically when you look at it, the Jets just are not an offensive powerhouse, at least not against good teams, and at least not on the road, and definitely not in New England. They're not a team that, when they get behind, can come back unless they're playing somebody like Detroit or Cleveland, in which they won games. Denver, all come back last second, bad call, late wins in games they should have lost against really bad teams. In this case, they're playing a very good team at home, and I'll be honest with you, the Pats are playoff bound further than the Jets will be. I see the Pats going to the AFC Championship game. They're going to win this game. But my point and the play I want you to go with on this game is the total. The total is 44. We're going to go under the 44. Let's put it this way, people. The Jets are not going to put up enough points to make that happen. The Patriots could put up enough points, but they're going to shut these guys. I don't even think, well, they're not going to shut them out. But I think that they're going to squash them. I'm looking at like a 28-10 game, maybe even a 24-3 game, 24-6 game. I don't see the Jets getting their offense going. I definitely see the Patriots getting their offense going. They have a big offensive line. For the most part, are pretty healthy. I know they have a younger defense, but you know Belichick, he gets those people fired up. He gets people playing in positions they normally wouldn't play in, or playing the way other teams, other coaches can't get those players to play. He is the master of it. And I bow to you, Bill Belichick. You are one of the coaches, I have to say, and I am not a fan of yours, and I'm not a fan of the Patriots, but he is the coach that I would rather have at any given point, especially in a situation like this, to advance and move ahead. whether it's Spygate or he just knows what he's doing. Look for Bill Belichick and the Patriots to take this game. Look for the total to go under. That is the play. We're going under the 44. Until next week when we go to the championship round, take your books money and take it easy.